This is The Top, where I interview entrepreneurs who are number one or number two in their industry in terms of revenue or customer base. You'll learn how much revenue they're making, what their marketing funnel looks like, and how many customers they have.
I'm now at $20,000 per top.
5 and 6 million.
He is hell-bent on global domination. We just broke our 100,000 unit sold mark.
And I'm your host, Nathan Latka.
I just finished traveling Southeast Asia for 41 days, and I usually always get sick when I travel, and quite frankly, eating is difficult for me. It's hard to find a restaurant, and I'm spoiled in Austin with my personal chef. Well, I took these little packets with me this time, 30 of them, in my carry-on suitcase. They kept me totally healthy with 11 different secret ingredients. You can see them at nathanlatka.com/juice. I'll tell you more later on in the show. That's nathanlatka.com/juice. Folks, many of you reach out to me and you say, Nathan, so many guests on your show talk about the importance of batching. But whenever I try and batch, you tell me this. You go, Nathan, they don't book back-to-back times. Or they don't show up after they book. It's frustrating. The answer is, guys, you have to use smart tools. I use a tool called Acuity Scheduling at nathanlatka.com/schedule. I'll tell you specifically how I use it later on in the episode. This is episode 659. Coming up tomorrow morning, I talk to somebody who might be the first trillionaire. And the person that's going to decide this are farmers. Why? Drones and machine learning are directly connected to value for farmers who can use this data to save money. So the question is simple. Will farmers decide the first drone company trillionaire? Tune in tomorrow morning to find out. Good morning, everybody. Nathan Latka here. Our guest today is Eric Min. He is the CEO and founder of a company called Zwift.com. We'll talk all about it. Eric's a tech entrepreneur, a lifelong cyclist, and is now spreading fitness through virtualization and gamification. All right, Eric, are you ready to take us to the top?
Yes.
Very good. So kick us off here. Tell us what Zwift does and what's your revenue model? How do you generate money?
So Zwift is simply, creating a virtual space where, cyclists can interact with each other in real time. We're trying to recreate the social, all the social aspects of cycling that so many of us really enjoy. It's a personal problem that I tried to solve. Coming from New York and living in London. All of my network being in New York City, I thought, could I recreate some of the social network that I had before in a way that just wasn't available? And, could we do that through a gaming platform and create a social network where, the interaction is real and physical?
And are you selling? So, guys, I encourage you to check out the website, Zwift.com. But the reason, Eric, I look at an idea like this and I go, this is exciting, is because for whatever reason, when I work out, if there's people watching or I'm competing with someone that I can beat, I just work out harder. It's something psychologically in my brain. I don't know why. So I love that I could be by myself here, use Zwift to maybe compete against other people. My question to you is, though, are you actually selling this whole bike as a piece of hardware, or is it just an add-on?
We're a pure software company. It's a subscription business. We charge $10 a month in most countries, and we're an asset-light company. We work with so many partners who have all the different equipment that's already available on the market. So we're really bringing all the different pieces together and creating an experience that that I think the industry has been talking about and promising for the last 25 years. And the timing of bringing all this together is perfect for today. So
someone's listening right now. They want to buy this. What do they have to have for like physically for Zwift to work?
Right. So the most basic setup would be your iPad, and there's something called a trainer that can attach to your traditional bicycle that turns it essentially into a stationary bike. There are a couple of sensors, Bluetooth sensors. And voila, it gets connected to our game, which is running on iOS. It also runs on PC and Mac. And then based on your weight, how fast you're pedaling, and a couple of other factors, we propel you in the game. So your weight matters. The kind of equipment that you have in the game actually matters. The terrain that you're riding on in the game matters. All of these things factor into, and the drafting within the game. Yep. These are all things that you take for granted, but it's all happens in the real world, and we take all of that and model that and turn that into an experience in the game.
So what year did you launch the company in?
In 2014, January 2014, we put a small team together. We seeded the business.
With how much capital?
Let's see, we seeded the business for, my partner and I, we had an open checkbook, but committed a couple $1 million to build this. And we were able to bring a product to life. We had friends and family, raised about $7 million, and we launched a beta product. Go ahead.
No, I didn't mean to cut you off, but where are you at to date? How much total capital have you raised?
We just closed a Series A round back in November. We've raised $45 million to date.
So somebody listening, Eric, right now, they're going to go, what the heck? I can't learn from Eric. He had millions of dollars to fund his own company from at the beginning. Why should I listen to the rest of this interview? It sounds like you maybe had a win before Zwift. What'd you do before?
So my partner and I, Alaric Marian, he and I built a trading platform for the financial and energy markets. So on the back of a little bit of success there, we decided to do something completely different, from enterprise to something consumer facing. And we thought, if we could do something completely different out of our comfort zone, we could probably call ourselves true entrepreneurs. And so, so here we are with our second venture. And
did you, how old were you when you launched that trading company, your first company?
So I was about 30 years old.
Okay. And you built that up for how many years?
So that was over a decade.
Okay.
And so that went on for some time. So that was an interesting business enterprise. It was we learned a lot of lessons there. We were able to monetize the business, which is great, and allowed us to do something fun as Zwift. But, enterprise business is tough, capital intensive, and if you're not clever, you don't walk away with very much at the end.
What was finish that story for us? I mean, did you sell it? You shut it down? What?
So we were sitting on what amounted to a $100 million contract. So we had a decision to make. Do we reinvest the proceeds? It's a highly profitable contract. Do we reinvest it and try to compete and scale our business, or do we call it a day and say, let's just take as much of that off the table? We took a tough decision, and it took us 5 years to take a lot of that off the table.
So let me see if I can understand this properly. A big company liked what you were doing. They said, we want to buy a plan or a contract for $100 million. And then you spent 5 years kind of executing that contract, and in the process just took as much of that as you could out into your pocket and your founder's pocket. Right.
In order to return 8 times, investors received 8 times their money.
Oh, that's great. How much capital did you raise in that business?
$3 million.
Okay, got it. So you said 3 or 30?
3.
3. That's great. And okay, good. That makes sense. Good. So now you guys can understand more. I always appreciate when people kind of explain more about how they got that initial bump, because Eric, a lot of these entrepreneurs, even Elon Musk, he started with an agency and they snowball their winnings into the next winning and the next and the next.
Yeah. So that was, we were fortunate to be able to extract, cash out of that business, because if I look back, it was incredible in a market that was shrinking, that more competitors were coming into the space. We just knew at that point it was time for us to leave. And the difference between the number one vendor versus us ranked in the top 5 was just insurmountable difference in terms of the power that a leader of a particular vertical had. And so one of the things that we were set out to do is become a category leader. And you could become a category leader by creating a brand new category. And essentially that's what we've done with Zwift.
Yep. So you're 30. For a decade, you're building this trading platform. You're now 40. You've made some money by giving your investors 8x on their money, that first company, and then using the rest to split between you and your co-founder on about $100 million contract. You get out of the space. You launch Zwift in 2014. You raised about $45 million. How many customers do you have to date?
So we're not public about how many subscribers we have, but I can tell you that we've had some simple basic information that would include about over 300,000 accounts created.
300,000?
Yeah, 300,000.
Got it.
And over the course of Zwift so far, we've had over 5 million rides.
Okay.
And over 5 million hours of pedaling. So the average ride is 1 hour, which is pretty amazing for a stationary bike experience. Another interesting metric is that we've logged 88 million miles on our within Zwift. So the engagement is fairly high. It's incredible that people log into Zwift to watch other people. Another interesting metric is 202,000 hours of what we call fan viewing. People logging in just to watch other people. This is very consistent with the gaming, the gaming industry. And so there's whether it's using Twitch or Pro Beam, other streaming platforms, people are actually broadcasting their experience on Zwift.
And what is so you mentioned, I think back in November 16th, based off my research, TechCrunch reported you guys had about 200,000 people signed up. So between November and now, it's now March 2017, you've signed up another about 100,000 people, which is, I feel like if I'm getting that data right, that's a good growth rate.
That's right.
Yeah. Help other people listening right now, they kind of have this free model and they're always struggling with how to convert from free to paid. What are some of the kind of key things you have to get a free user do to get them to convert into a paid Zwift customer?
So we don't have any free users. What we have is a trial.
Okay.
And today what you get is a little taste of Zwift every month. So you get to ride 20 kilometers or about 12 miles a month. So everyone can dip in. We don't have any year-long contracts at the moment. So what we wanted to do, at least in the first couple of years, to understand the behavior. Most of our customers are outdoor cyclists. So, what they're used to doing is riding indoors when the weather is not friendly and going outdoors when the weather improves. So what we're trying to understand is, can we affect behavior? Could we tweak the product so that Zwift is a proposition year-round? And these are experiments that we're conducting at the moment. But we believe that over time, that Zwift is something that will be a year-round proposition for not just cyclists but fitness enthusiasts when we get to that part of the market.
Do you see seasonal issues right now in your paid kind of cohort? In other words, are people signing up in the spring and canceling for 2 months and then re-signing up?
Almost every business is seasonal. People may not realize it. Gaming industry is seasonal.
Wait, Eric, hold on. I have to disagree with you on that. I mean, there are plenty of SaaS companies I've interviewed that they are not seasonal businesses. They're like B2B SaaS.
Yeah, so let's talk about consumer businesses.
Okay.
So like gaming. Gaming is a seasonal business. That shocked me, actually. But it makes sense. People spend less time playing games during the summer. They probably go out, right?
Sure.
They go on vacation. And so many businesses are actually more seasonal than we all think. But it's not to say, I think Zwift could smoothen that experience. Zwift is something that just makes it very easy for one to consume fitness. Our belief is that everyone is chasing fitness, and everyone would like to consume fitness in the most efficient way. And we think that that solution is probably in the home. It's got to be very, very, cost effective. So I think $10 is probably the sweet spot. And people like to work out with other people. Yeah. So that you need to bring a social community, and so not after the fact, but during the activity.
So what do you, when you only have this one plan, right? You don't have any kind of like expansion revenue systems built in place, right?
Not at the moment. I mean, those are all things that will be coming. We have a number of different ways we can monetize going forward. But right now we think we have more building to do with just the basic experience.
Yeah.
I'd say from 1 to 10, we're at level 2.
Yeah,
you've
got a lot of free users obviously signing up. So I mean, help me understand. I mean, how seasonal is this business? I mean, are we talking 10% monthly customer churn? Are we talking 2% or 30%? Or give me a range.
So from the numbers that we see today, it's probably 70% of the people will hang on throughout the year.
Okay, got it. So 70% annual retention, which means you're churning, call it 3% of users per month.
And I don't think they're churned. It's called pause.
Pause. Okay. Well, even that, I mean, Eric, that's not a horrible number. There are SaaS companies I talk to. Yeah, there are SaaS companies I talk to that have double that monthly churn.
Yeah, no, it's I'm pretty happy with the retention. I think the product will only get better as the network expands. The social network expands. It's more interesting to participate in Zwift.
Yep.
The content, that we'll be investing in will be more interesting. We're also crowdsourcing content. So what I mean by that is, unlike other platforms where you might have to pay a spin instructor to create these spin experiences, we've got a community of users who want to volunteer their services to be ride leaders.
Yeah.
So there are all sorts of, I think the last I checked, there are over 700 events being organized every month by the community.
That's great. What are you, I mean, you guys are doing a great job, obviously, with acquisition of users. How are you, are you doing any paid spend? And if so, what's your CAC?
95% of our user acquisition is organic.
And how's it happening?
And it's happening because it's more fun to be on Zwift with your friends. So,
well, sorry, Eric. I meant are you incorporating a gold gym exercise into Zwift, and in exchange, Gold has to put a card about Zwift on their entry table? Is there a specific tactic you're using to drive kind of organic signups?
Most cyclists belong, and so we're targeting cyclists, competitive cyclists, professional cyclists, cycling enthusiasts. They're all cyclists. And most cyclists belong to a tribe, a club, or a team. And if you like the experience, the first thing you'll do is you'll want your friends on Zwift with you. So
I totally get that, Eric, the land, and then I get the expand part. I'm talking about the land. How do you land one person from a new tribe?
So, that's investing in the brand, in creating awareness. We do very little on the digital advertising side.
How much would you say you spend per month? I know it's a very small amount because it's only 5% of your signups, but
it's not very much at all.
Less than $100,000 per month.
Oh, for sure. Come on, that's a lot for us, actually.
Got it. Okay, got it. That's helpful. Do you want to, I mean, is there a specific tactic you can give though for, I know it's, organic and good content, all the usual stuff, but can you tell us a story about a specific thing you did that got you into a bunch of new tribes?
So I'll give you an example of what we invest in terms of content.
Great.
So we invested in a project called Zwift Academy, modeled after GT Academy. So I don't know if you know Gran Turismo Academy.
I don't.
Okay, so there is it's about 7 years old, but basically it was a marketing advertising program between Gran Turismo, the Sony PlayStation game, and Nissan, where they would find talent on the platform, on the gaming platform, and then take the finalists to a track, put them in a real car, and see if they can find a real driver. Now, they've been doing this for 7 years, and over the last few years, they're actually finding real drivers. Partly because real drivers realize that this is a way to get a professional contract.
Yep.
And so we took that model and created what we call Zwift Academy. And we called out ladies all over the world last year to join this program. 1,200 ladies from around the world.
How'd you call it? How'd you reach out to them?
So it was just public relations, PR. It was through various channels, media channels. So 1,200 ladies from around the world signed up for this program. And the 3 finalists, so they had to go through a number of different tests and training programs, all on Zwift. And they were being monitored by coaches, certified coaches. We took 3 finalists, there happened to be 2 Americans, 1 Dutch lady, to Majorca, Spain, and where they trained for 10 days with a professional team. And the professional team would test these 3 riders and offer a professional contract to one of them. And one of them is now a professional rider. She was a former serious marathoner, now a professional at the highest level, and is now completing professional events. So this is just an example of content that we invest in because it's aspirational. And during this program, it's 1,200 ladies participated. The vast majority of them know that they're not going to become a professional cyclist, but they want to be part of the journey, because if you go through the journey, you will become a better athlete yourself.
Hey, makes sense. Thanks for, obviously, Eric, diving deep into that acquisition strategy. It's helpful. Last question I've got before we wrap up. It's kind of complex, but I see a lot of entrepreneurs doing this. I want your feedback on it. Your Series A, I believe, was about $27 million back in November. I'm going to do some back of the napkin math here. So most companies in their Series A, let's assume aggressively, are giving up, say, 25% of your business, right? Which would mean you guys did, call it an $81 million pre-money valuation and over $100 million post-money valuation. You're doing a maximum in terms of revenue. If it's $10 a user, you've got 300,000 free users. Let's say all of them were paid. That's somewhere around $3 million per month maximum, or call it 30 million annually. Do you ever worry, because you're a great negotiator, you had a first company had success, you negotiated a high valuation. Do you ever worry about growing into the valuation?
It's a balancing act, but I'm not because I think we're going after a very, very big opportunity. We don't see anyone doing exactly what we're doing. So we're creating a whole new market, and I believe how we win this opportunity is to build a community. So for us, it's a race to acquire a millionth customer.
A race, no pun intended.
It's a race to get to our millionth subscriber, and there are not many businesses that can claim 1 million subscribers, paying subscribers, right?
Guys, I get asked all the time, Nathan, you host all these interviews, hundreds of them per month. How do you do them efficiently? And guys, the answer is simple. People always agree to my calendar, back-to-back meetings. I batch my interviews to stay very efficient. And the way that I do it is I use a tool called Acuity Scheduling at nathanlatka.com/schedule. And the reason I use them is very simple. They keep my no-show rate very low because they send out reminders about when the interview or the meeting is coming up. And also, they make it very easy to schedule time, right? I don't have to go back and forth via email 10,000 times with people I'm trying to meet with. Okay, at nathanlatka.com/schedule. It helps me so much. And by the way, look, I have so many meetings. I'm the best in meetings. Okay, I do them back-to-back, very, very efficient. You guys know me. Many people say I'm the most efficient they've ever seen. Okay, so I use the tool. It's so efficient. And by the way, I got Gavin. I said, Gavin, he's the CEO. I said, I want a great deal for my people. He said, Nathan, well, most people get a 14-day trial. Isn't that great? I said, no. He's given us a 45-day free trial at nathanlatka.com/schedule. That's not going to stay up forever, so go get it now. nathanlatka.com/schedule. All right, Eric, on that note, let's wrap up with the famous 5. Number 1, what's your favorite business book?
Oh, geez. Crossing the Chasm is one that I enjoyed.
Jeffrey Moore, it's a good one.
Yeah,
number 2, Eric, is there a CEO you're following or studying currently?
CEO, geez, no, I'm following a few. I wouldn't say they're CEOs. I have some fantastic advisors.
Name one.
Max Levchin is an advisor of us. I've got 5 incredible advisors, and they all bring different things to the table.
Number 3, is there a favorite online tool you have, like FreshBooks?
Online tool. Slack.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
6.
And what's your situation? Married, single, do you have kids?
Married with 3 kids.
Oh, wow. How old are you?
I'm almost 50.
Nice. Okay, so take us back 30 years, Eric. Last question. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
20 years old. So what would I do for 20 years old?
No, just like a piece of advice that you wish you had known when you were 20.
Oh, I see. Well, I think I took my first, I started my company when I was 30 years old, I think I should have started maybe 3 or 4 years earlier. I think taking risk early on, I mean, when else are you going to take risks, right? I'd say is the earlier you can take risks, whether it's a venture or a profession, you need to get it out of the way earlier. Earlier the better. That would be the advice I give.
There you guys have it from Eric, current CEO and founder of Zwift. Again, he would have started earlier, started back when he was 30. That would have been about, around 20, I guess 2002-ish time frame with his trading company. Did that for a decade before he took a large contract, executed over 5 years, gave his investors a great return, and pulled cash out for him and his co-founder. Sunk some of that money into his new company, Zwift, launching that in, again, January 2014. It's now got over 300,000 users, $45 million raised. Again, paying customers pay about $10 per month for this community they're creating for indoor cycling and workout measurement. Eric, thank you so much for taking us to the top.
Great. Thank you.
If you enjoyed Eric today, go back and listen to yesterday's episode where there's basically $120 million up for grabs. This is the closest thing to free money as you guys can get if you're a startup looking to raise capital. BJ Lackland of Lighter Capital is joining me to explain how you can get your hands on it. It would mean the world to me if you guys got any value from this episode, if you would go leave a review on iTunes right now and then subscribe. You know, I hustle like heck to get these episodes out every freaking day for you guys, and trust me, I love it. I would do it with no listeners, but boy, oh boy, it makes my day and it makes my team's day when we see great reviews and get your feedback. So thanks so much. Okay, Top Tribe, I love giving away free money. I feel like Oprah giving away cars, and I have something special for you today. How many of you have heard our super sharp guests talk about success they've had with Facebook and Google Ads? Well, all of you listening right now, yes, if you're listening, you get $100 in free AdWords. Here's how you get it, okay? Again, thanks for listening. Get the free $100 from Google, right, when you sign up with my website host provider, HostGator. Go sign up now to get your free money. HostGator.com/Nathan. Again, that's HostGator.com/Nathan. So guys, I'm so glad to be back in Austin. I just got back from a major tour of Southeast Asia. Went to Sydney, Bangkok, Bali, and Japan. And, you know, I always get sick when I travel. And this particular trip, my gosh, 15 different airports, 20 different hotels. I mean, imagine flushing in airport bathrooms. I was worried about germs and getting all the nutrition I need. I mean, finding a restaurant in Japan, difficult because nothing's in English. So it was hard enough to figure out the train system. But my point is, I had a guy named Drew Canoli on the show who said, Nathan, if you're concerned about that, take these little green packets with you. You just mix them once per day with water. They'll keep you super healthy. You get all your nutrients, and they'll keep you from getting sick. So I took them, and guys, they worked unbelievably well. I got no sickness, just mixed them with water once per day. They didn't make my water bottles all sticky. That's like nice. A lot of these mixers, they make them sticky. It was very clean and smooth. Took them once per day, never got sick. So they've got 11 superfoods, and they're perfect if you're not traveling, but you're just on the go from your office to work. So you can check them out at nathanlatka.com/juice. That's nathanlatka.com/juice.